What we anticipate will take place today is that the ANC's National Working Committee will give recommendations that they deliberated upon yesterday in the special NWC meeting pertaining to the Section 89 High Panel report with regards to President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala Phala farm. They will also table recommendations on the political future of the ANC president. It is reported through our sources that majority of the members in the NWC recommended that the president of the ANC stay on as president of the country and president of the country, and they also recommended that the ANC caucus in parliament vote against the adoption of this particular Section 89 panel report. As you can see, various NEC members going in. In fact, that is Ruben Madaje, who is the provincial secretary of the ANC in Limpopo. He is entering the NEC meeting now as the party goes in to deliberate on the recommendations from the NWC. We've seen other leaders of the ANC arriving, such as Samkele Maseko, the head of ANC presidency. He has also arrived for the deliberations which will ultimately determine the political future and fate of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, who seemingly seems in the driving seat of the party when it comes to the recommendations of the NWC looking at the fight for his political survival.
I want to start a little bit with what we saw when we essentially got that report from this independent panel, Samkele. You know, the night that report came out and was public, the very next day you were able to see some leaders within the African National Congress, Tony Yengeni, for instance, coming out and emphatically saying that the president must step down. Is there a sense, though, that there is a changing of the tide where we're hearing more and more of the narrative wanting to support the president to stay on?
There is a tide that is seemingly shifting within the ANC, particularly after that uncertainty of his political future within the party. In fact, here is the ANC provincial secretary in KwaZulu-Natal, Bheki Mtolo. He's going in right now. Those are his vehicles, who are one of those leaders in the ANC who have called for the president of the ANC to step aside and be removed as head of state duties to these allegations facing Phala Phala. So it essentially tells you that there is a tide that is turning within the party, that there are those whom are pushing for the president to be removed as the head of state, having and accusing him of bringing the ANC into disrepute. Just yesterday, former President Jacob Zuma speaking in KwaXimba in Ward 1 in eThekwini region, saying that the ANC is led by Isgebengu, quote unquote, basically saying that the ANC at this point in time is led by a thug in the form of President Ramaphosa, in the words of his predecessor, former President Jacob Gedlaihlekisa Zuma, which in essence here at NASREC today, it will be a political showdown between two warring factions. That is those who support President Ramaphosa and those whom are against him, that are seemingly aligned to former President Jacob Zuma within the NEC, and some who support Dr. Zwelithini Mkhize to become the president of the African National Congress.
I want to actually just look at the data for a little bit here, Samkele, because essentially the data of who seemingly is supportive of the president within the African National Congress will also point to what we were expecting to come out in just over 10 days when the party heads to its national conference. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the likelihood that we're going to be seeing today a president who says, I am stepping down as the leader of the African National Congress. If we look at just what the numbers are showing us there.
Well, the president of the ANC has not said that he's stepping down. I don't know where that particular point comes from. He's not said that he's stepping down as the president. He was contemplating various options, which included resigning as head of state. You'd remember that those who are aligned to him, such as Gwede Mantashe, went to engage with him, and other leaders such as Enoch Godongwana and other senior leaders of the African National Congress. It's pretty clear that after speaking to him yesterday, he was very emboldened and very buoyant about his support within the party, and eagerly ready to go into battle for his political survival. So it essentially tells you that President Ramaphosa has geared up for a battle. Those who support him have geared up for a battle and have geared up to defend him at all costs, particularly knowing the recommendations that came out of the National Working Committee of the ANC. But the factional lines, the battle lines have been drawn. Those whom want him out in the 55th National Conference will align with whichever perspective of those who say he must go.
Something to be said about the alliance partners also coming out and speaking out, with the SACP yesterday also coming out seemingly in support of the president, Samkele.
Yes, the SACP came out and said that it's premature for calls by those who say the president must go and must leave office, particularly knowing that the Phala Phala issue has not gone through all the necessary processes in parliament, through the structures of the ANC. So he seems very buoyant and emboldened, even with the alliance partner, the SACP, coming within their defense. But also, you've got to bear in mind that people are now also thinking about their own selfish preservation, particularly in the positions that they hold in government, in the structures of the ANC. Whichever person supports whichever view, it's for their own factional and selfish interest as well, particularly knowing how ANC factional battles have been drawn in time immemorial.
And just quickly before I let you go, what the timelines are going to be looking like for today, what that program looks like, and when we're expecting things to kick off?
There's one item on the agenda, and that item is to discuss the Phala Phala farm of President Cyril Ramaphosa, that independent Section 89 high panel report that will be deliberated upon. The discussions will take the entire day. We may end up leaving here late into the evening, knowing that many ANC leaders will want to have their viewpoints expressed within this National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC.